Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. Got myself Dakota, Tim, of course, in his lovely hotel with his fancy, what do you ever call those shades?
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a nice room. I gotta say, I've been in a lot of different places each time we've done this. Your consistency, a hats off to you, because you've always been behind the same, what is it, kittens, aristocrat kind of looking paintings behind you. And I've got to say, I think I'm on my dozen, at least 12 different locations now. I've filmed all over the place.
You've been in basements, you've been outdoors, you've been
I have been, yeah. It's been international. Was down the shore the 1 week.
Yeah.
We're in a hotel room,
multiple states, multiple countries,
I've literally,
Globetrotter.
It's all over the place, and hats off to you to the consistency, because I find it extremely hard. I've been all over the place, but hey, consistency. You got to show up, and I'm here for you. I come. True. I do it for the beard.
We're well traveled, so that's good.
Well, we obviously we had a bye week this week, so no Eagles to talk about.
It feels like the Eagles haven't played in a month. It feels like a long time.
The bye week does that to you, but so I figured, we could talk, since we don't have anything to talk about this past week, and we've already gotten into it enough about the Minshew and Jets debate. Let's do a little more about next week. And an interesting game, because Washington's looked pretty good. They obviously lost this week, but they did it. They came back, they made it a game. So I got to say, I'm impressed. They were on a 3-game winning streak, I think, before the Dallas game.
Yeah.
So, and if I'm correct, they're the team in the last wildcard spot. So this could be a win, and you're kind of in the wildcard spot right now. So it's huge, huge, huge week coming up. We're getting healthy. What are we thinking? How are we feeling for next week?
Well, this is the game of the season. It's because if you lose, Washington's in control. If you win, you're in control. And it's funny because I think I told you I'm going to the second Washington game in DC. That's the second to last week of the season.
Oh yeah, nice.
And when me and my friend, when we bought tickets, we thought it was going to be, because we bought them week 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh yeah, we're going to be terrible by then. So we got a good deal on pretty good seats for a good deal. And now this could be that could be a playoff clinching game, so it's exciting. We had the argument before when I was like, is it, is it really worthwhile for us to, make the playoffs over a couple draft picks? But what it is it doesn't even matter, because what's the rate? It's 50-50 that first round picks are bust anyways. So it doesn't really matter where you draft. It just matters how you draft. So obviously having top 5 pick is good, but we're not in that kind of position. So, and I think in our one group chat, someone was talking about how, it's important we have a pretty young roster right now who's, seen a lot of time on the field. So getting that experience, if they can make the playoffs, would be, and not even just the experience, but I feel like if they get that taste, and because more than likely it'll be a first round exit, but if they get that taust, they'll want to work harder in the offseason, come back and get to that game again and win it. So definitely, it would be a good stepping stone. But yeah, I'm really excited. This game is gonna tell us all how far this team has really come, because they gotta show up. Can't be the Giants game where they just lay an egg. Can't be the Jets where they come out slow and at least on defense, let the Jets hang around. You gotta get to it. And Washington has a couple COVID players already.
Do they? I didn't even actually
Allen, the D tackle, so that's huge.
Okay.
And then I think Fuller, the cornerback, he might be out as well with COVID. He's in the protocol right now. So it's Quez Watkins for us. So, but we'll see. And then Heineke's a little beat up, so got to get after him. But I'm pretty.
It's going to be an impressive game. Everything's still in front of you, and what I'm actually fascinated by. Did you know that we have the same exact schedule as Washington? We play the same 4 teams to end the season. What's actually amazing, I don't know what the scheduling people were going to do. Washington played Cowboys this week. They're going to play the Eagles. Then they play the Cowboys again. Then they play the Eagles. So they're going to play 2 teams in 4 weeks.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Ravens and the Browns play again this week. And they just played last week. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's true. It's a weird schedule.
Crazy.
You're literally Washington's literally getting the Cowboys and Eagles, in 4 weeks. The way I look at it is, obviously you're in Philly, you want to win this, but theoretically we are tied. You still have the game later. I think the Washington plays in Dallas, then the week after that on Sunday night. I really don't think Dallas is going to lose that game. The Eagles obviously have the Giants. I know we lost them last week, but there is no way we're losing that game. There's absolutely no way they can lose to the Giants again.
Oh, no.
And then you have Dallas. You have Dallas in the last game of the season, which who knows if Dallas is still interested to play the season goes. But this one gives you the momentum. This one gives you the coming off the bye. You need this. You need to change the tide, because things really hit a low with the Giants game. And then I really don't think the Jets win was much to really get over the Giants win. Obviously, we kind of all expected them to beat the Jets. So this would be something. This is a win you can build on. This is a win you can carry momentum all the way till the end of the season. Again, it'll crush if you lose this one. This is going to hurt a lot in Philly, but I guess you still have you control your own destiny with getting another game in Washington in week 17, I guess it'd be.
Yeah.
It's, we'll see. Terry McLaurin got concussed, so who knows if he's going to be healthy.
Yeah, I just looked at it. They have Washington has 9 players on COVID protocols right now. So 5 are D linemen.
I'll take that. That sounds like a game. I mean, I haven't heard update about Jordan Howard, but I would imagine him coming off the bye.
I was just thinking the same thing. I want to see if I can find anything.
This should be a run-heavy game. Jalen will be back out there. I want to feel something good. This is the beginning. Honestly, this is the way I look at it. This is the beginning of the playoffs. You're in the playoffs now. Like, every game is now a playoff game. You need to just keep winning each week to keep on going. I don't want to get cute with it. Just keep winning. Build some momentum. Feel good about it. So we'll see. I mean, I do feel good. I feel good coming into this week. Hats off, man. It's getting to that nitty gritty part of the season, end of the year. It's getting December football. There's nothing better than it. But I feel good. I feel like we can win this one.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Dallas will have clinched the NFC East by before the last game. So I think they'll end up resting players. So that should be a gimme for us. And then, like you said, I cannot imagine us losing both games to the Giants. I can't. I don't know when the last time that's even happened. So that one I feel like has got to be a victory. So then you just got to take care of what. And this is like, we got lucky with that Washington's dealing with a lot of injuries. Like, it's never a good thing to wish upon injuries, but it's nice that they're reeling right now when they need to be healthy. So, and we're getting healthy-ish. So they got it. I mean, if they lose, you go from I think someone said it was like, if they win, they have like a 55% chance of making the playoffs. And if they lose to Washington this week, it goes down to 11. But then, I mean, I think we had when we made the wild card with Nick Foles, I'm pretty sure we had a 1 or 2% chance 2 weeks before the season ended. And then somehow the Vikings, all these teams kept losing.
Oh yeah.
And then we somehow crawled in. So, I mean, those percents really don't mean anything, but definitely I think if they win against Washington, they'll run the table. And then if they lose, the season's over. So
so one thing you're mentioning that, Dallas might not be interested at the end of the game, at the end of the season, that last game the Eagles play. I mean, let's be honest, they're going to have the division wrapped up. That I think they're up 3 games. I think they could probably clinch in the next week or two.
Unless they flounder.
This is the one thing I hate about the 17 playoffs. And that was the first thing I thought of when they brought it in. Now there's only one team that gets to bye. So I'm just looking at the standings right now. You have 3 teams tied in the NFC at 10-3. I think ultimately the Buccaneers are first place due to tiebreakers and all that. I'm looking at the last game of the season. Assuming that these 3 teams win out and they're both all 10-3, a team like Dallas, who's 12-4 entering the last season, might have literally no first place to play for. You have the Packers playing the Lions, you have the Buccaneers playing the Panthers, you have who is it? The Cardinals are playing the Seahawks. So not really any competitive games. There's really nothing to play for a team like Dallas in that situation. You have 2, if you had 2 buys, there's more to play for at the end of the season. I just think there's going to be more teams sitting players at the end of the season, that last game of the season, because realistically, there's only one buy. Only one team can get it. You're going to know pretty well going into that last week who's going to get it. and it just narrows the limit of which teams can, advance in seeding and all that. And I think you're going to see a lot of resting at the end of the year, especially this year, especially due to the one team playoff. It's just the incentive to play out to the end of the year isn't going to be as strong. There's not much to play for when there's only one bye. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's mind numbing to think that there could be a potentially 12-4 Cowboys team going in the last week that have nothing to play for, even though they're a game behind, the team in the first place.
Yeah, I like that another team gets to come in, but I don't like the fact that you're losing the bye for that.
Yeah.
Because that's like, if you are the 1 and 2 seed, like you were the powerhouse of your division, of your conference then. So I don't know. It'll be weird to, it'll be interesting.
Just doesn't give you much to play for at the end of the season. People hate it when, Andy Reid used to do it all the time. Every other team does it too. They sit their players at the end of the season. And I guess in one aspect you could think maybe this makes it more, it makes the bye more valuable, obviously, but it also limits who can realistically get a bye. And I just think you're going to see more teams sitting the players. I mean, going into the last week of the season and they're all tied, and the Packers are playing the Lions. Like, you're not going to risk hurting your guys going to the playoffs. No, you're not going to get a bye. It's just, we'll see. But it's one of the first rules I thought of. Obviously, this is the first year they did this, but obviously it's the first thing that popped in my head when they did the 17. It's like, I think this is going to just take the competitiveness out in the last week of the season in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll see. You want to do a little bit of stat trivia real quick?
Oh, okay. Bring me some trivia. I love trivia.
All right. Well, it's just not really trivia. It's just, looking at the current leaders. Just curious if you had to guess. So who do you think is leading the league in passing yards?
I know who. I know it's Derek Carr not too long ago. Is it still Carr? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's in second.
Okay. I knew it was him for a while. What about Brady?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You see him he was running quite a bit against the Bills.
Since we not much to talk about with the Eagles, we can go right into these games this week because there really weren't many good ones. I mean, the NFL should be thankful for fantasy football because
we had 2 overtime games.
Yeah, but the 1 o'clock window, I think all were blowouts. Minus, the Washington came back on the Cowboys, but there was a lot of blowouts this week. But I think the biggest one obviously was the Bucs and the Bills. And I gotta say, man, the Bucs are, I think, my favorite come to NFC. Watching that game, just like you said, Tom Brady was running the ball. They looked like they were hitting on all cylinders. They looked good, and they were doing it against a good team. That game was starting to slip away from the Bills. They didn't manage to make it close, but that game was slipping away from them.
One of my friends asked me, he's like, who's your Super Bowl favorites right now? I was like, honestly, the league is so wide open. Like, it could be anybody at this point. Like, it's pretty cool. It's not often like this, but and then he was like, no, but like actually like pick your 2, teams. And I sat there and I was like, well, honestly, it's probably going to be like, if I had to pick it, I'd say Chiefs and Bucks again. Like, they're getting hot at the right time and they both look really good. I mean, the Chiefs just dismantled the Raiders.
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. Them. You can't go dancing on the other team's 50-yard line before the game and then come out and lay an egg like that.
There was 2. What was it? It was that. And then the Bears were taunting Aaron Rodgers doing his discount belt celebration. And then after that, he threw for like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's like, I mean, don't taunt the good teams.
Yeah, at least that was just, Robert Quinn doing it off a sack nonetheless. At least he did something to warrant a celebration. Yeah. You can't go out there dancing on the 50-yard line in their home stadium and then lay an egg like that. What they gave up, 40 points? I think it was 48 points. I know they got a couple touchdowns on defense, like the scoop and score in the first 30 seconds. I don't even think I cracked my first beer yet, and the Chiefs already scored a touchdown. But your defense comes out there and gives up 48 points after you were dancing on their halftime logo. Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez, that is just embarrassing. That was hard to watch, and that was one. You got to answer for that. I would make every single member of their defense stand in front of the podium and answer each question. Pathetic. You know, talking about Super Bowl matchups, I mean, the two hottest teams I think right now that I'm sure, I think the Bucs look great. The Bucs look to be kicking on all cylinders, but man, the Patriots, they have it down. Bill Belichick, he's got this defense playing really good, and Mac Jones looks like, I mean, he's not making mistakes. I worry about him in, you know, a playoff matchup against like a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, who are proven and have done it before in the playoffs. But if Bill Belichick's throwing out this defense we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, man, they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs without a doubt.
Oh yeah,
they're looking like, and you know what? They look like they're going to they're in contention for that bye. They're going to win their division most likely because they already beat the Bills, and the Bills dropped one this week. But man, if you have to go to Gillette, that we all know how that goes in the playoffs. It is not fun in January to go to Gillette. The Patriots are pretty good in there.
Yeah, I don't think they're ready to compete for real, but they're definitely doing well right now. I mean, like you said, they beat the Bills, and by throwing 2 passes, you know, the whole game, which is mind-boggling. I know the weather was terrible, but still.
Hey, you know, you might say they're not ready. They are the number 1 seed right now. They are the number 1 seed. Bill Belichick is going to find a way to get a first-round bye and run the whole playoffs through Gillette, just like he did every single year with Brady.
Crazy. He just needed he needed a 1-year break, and now he's back in it.
Yeah, just like, let me just use Cam Newton real fast.
Yeah,
and it's just you know what's amazing is obviously Bill Belichick's one of the greatest coaches ever, but you factor in like, how many times do teams like have a ton of salary cap space and just blow it on horrific signings? Bill Belichick, he said it last year. He said, yeah, they went to 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's why they didn't really have enough money to improve the roster. And he was right. He got some, you know, money off the books. He got a little more salary cap and then went out and signed a whole bunch of players. And now they're awesome. Like, he doesn't make bad decisions. He doesn't overpay. He gets the guys for his systems. I mean, everyone was saying that signing 2 tight ends to massive money was probably a mistake, but no, that doesn't look like a mistake at all. Matthew Judon looks like a defensive player of the year candidate after he got huge money.
Yep.
It's just, he knows what he needs. He sees that trait or that skill in those players and brings them in. Like, in one off season, he retooled an entire roster. Amazing.
I'm impressed. Yeah. I'm not surprised, but
no, I'm not surprised. Definitely impressed, but not surprised.
But yeah, so going around the league, we had a very weird Thursday night game with the Vikings were up like 4 touchdowns or something, and then the Steelers just came back out of nowhere, and then we had
they're mandatory television, so they couldn't have had a bad game on that. They're on national TV.
The Vikings, yeah, of course. They'll be on Sunday Night Football next week against the Bears.
Listen,
so
the NFL is smiling. They know that it doesn't matter who the Vikings play. It doesn't matter what happens. They will be entertaining. And I got to say, I was going to call you actually, because I heard Troy Aikman mention at least 3 or 4 times how they are such an entertaining team to watch all year. How many they think they have 11 one-score games or whatever. I was like, dude, I've been saying this since week 2.
Get them on Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a little debacle at the end with the Steelers went for it on like 4th and 1 and then got the conversion. And then instead of, handing the ball to the ref, Chase Claypool decided he was going to celebrate with 20 seconds left and no timeouts.
Yeah.
And then they eventually lost. So
I got to be fair though. I obviously, since I'm on the time difference, all these night games I usually watch the next day, and I work in the morning, so it took me a little longer to watch them. So obviously, I already knew who won. I heard the rumblings about Claypool and everything, so I was curious to see it. And the amount of hate and just blasphemy and just disrespect that Claypool got, I think is a little overwarranted. I was expecting this guy to like go out and celebrate and throw the ball in the stands or something. The celebration, yeah, it's pretty dumb, but the lineman clearly knocked the ball out of his hands. Like, that wasn't his fault. It was dumb.
I think it was more of like but I think that was like he was panicking because Claypool wasn't moving the ball. So he like tried to grab it from him and then knocked it out and this and that. But yeah, you gotta be, I love how his press conference, he like said he was at fault, but then also said he wasn't at fault. So
yeah,
he was like, yeah, I gotta be better, but like the ball got knocked out of my hands, but I gotta be better. But like, if the ball didn't get knocked out of my hands, I was like, just own up. Like, don't just take it.
To be fair, I did think the same thing. Obviously, I knew the reaction I was waiting for, and I don't know, maybe my expectations were too high because I already saw Twitter and everything, and I didn't watch it yet. But It did, like, I mean, with the defensive lineman knocked the ball out of his hands. Like, that was clearly, if the refs should have called the penalty on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you shouldn't be celebrating with 20 seconds left in a game you're losing, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways.
but either way.
Saints get off the losing streak, beat the Jets 30-9, not much of a game.
Yeah, it helps to, you know, if you're ever on a losing streak, just play the Jets. It helps.
I can't remember if we did a too much whiz about Cam Newton finishing the season, but sure doesn't look like that's going to happen now. Falcons beat the Panthers 29-21. Pretty sure Cam was benched for PJ Walker, which is never a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that's more of the problem. I know they fired Joe Brady, but look at the quarterbacks they're rolling out there. I mean, I don't think the offensive coordinator was the problem.
I don't know what's going on with the Panthers. They look good sometimes, and then they look terrible sometimes. Like, their defense is very up and down. Sometimes they look like a top 5 defense, then other times they look like a bottom 15. So
yeah,
I don't know. Seattle got a win over the Texans. Who the hell watched that game?
Yeah, again, well, you know, things are not going well. Just play the Texans, just like the Jets. Just play the Texans.
The like I mentioned, the Chiefs dismantled the Raiders 48-9.
I still can't get over the disrespect. You just dance on their 50-yard line and then don't show up. I just, the disrespect. Man, I got to say, the Chiefs are scary. They could be a Super Bowl contender because, man, that defense is putting it together. It's amazing.
It's crazy that they've turned it around.
It's amazing the difference that Chris Jones being in the inside and having Melvin Ingram on the edge has done. I think Melvin Ingram couldn't even get playing time with the Steelers. Now he's at the Chiefs, and suddenly the whole defense has been revitalized.
Yeah. Browns get a hard-fought win over the Ravens, 24-22. They're now 1 game behind the Ravens. So, and Ravens got a lot of injuries, like we mentioned. So I'll say this much: if the Ravens manage to, like, no, I don't think we know how long Lamar's out for. But if they manage to win some games here, even with all these injuries they've had, and still win the division and do something in the playoffs, Jim Harbaugh deserves the Coach of the Year for all the bull he's had to deal with this year. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think this is the Browns conference division to take now. So see if they can wrap it up.
They still, you know, with the Browns though, I still just don't have like real faith in them. This offense is too just. It's just a mess too much. I don't have any confidence in Baker. The defense looks great, but yeah, they're missing some things.
Cowboys beat Washington in a pretty exciting game. Cowboys were up pretty big. I don't remember what the difference was. And then Washington started a nice comeback. Dak threw a really bad pick 6 right to the defender. Yeah, and then Washington just couldn't get. But my God, like, the only thing that I noticed watching that game was how, and I love Devontae Smith, but Micah Parsons is a monster.
Yeah,
he's gonna be so good. It's not fair.
He might be Defensive Player of the Year, like not rookie.
Probably should be.
I saw something on Twitter. His stats through 13 games are all better than Khalil Mack during his Defensive Player of the Year season already. The guy's got more sacks, more tackles. I think the other one was more QB hits, I believe, or more whatever it was. It was just absurd. He's something else. It makes me very sad that he's stuck in the division for the next decade at least.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Devontae pans out and becomes a top receiver. So we'll see. Jaguars are a cesspool right now. They lost to the Titans 20-0. I would be shocked if Urban Meyer is not fired by the end of the year, if not sooner. He's a joke of a head coach.
Yeah, you hear all these reports, and he pretty much denied all of them. But I think, Urban, like, you haven't really done anything to make me think that they probably aren't true. This seems pretty on brand, you know. I don't know. Like, here's the thing either. Are you surprised? Is anyone surprised this isn't working out?
Oh, I said it was a terrible hire when they did it. And I'm pretty sure you agreed with me. It's just like, the worst part is like, you can tell he just doesn't care. Like he just took this job for the money. Like so there was a quote came out that a reporter asked him about the playing time of one of his players.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I think working him in more, get more snaps." And he had like 0 snaps that game. Like he didn't even play, and he doesn't even he's not even aware.
Yeah, it's. I mean, again,
the
Jaguars don't have many good players on their team. James Robinson, I would say, is one of their better players. Trevor Lawrence publicly came out and said, "Hey, this guy needs to play more." After he got benched from fumbling, he got 6 carries. I mean, granted, they were 6 carries for 4 yards, so he didn't really do anything to deserve more playing time, but. Let's be honest, the Jaguars aren't good. There's no one holding him back. No one wants to see Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
I just, he has such a disconnect. Your star franchise quarterbacks and publicly saying this guy needs to play. He's easily one of the best players on the team, and you're not using him. I don't know. I feel like he took this job because he knew Trevor Lawrence was going to be there and kind of just thought that Trevor Lawrence would be, I don't know, prime Peyton Manning his first year. But didn't have to factor in that, it's just a mess. And Trevor Lawrence is suffering. This guy is just a mess.
Yeah, it's not a good. I mean, hey, Dougie P apparently has a house down in Florida, so
that would make a ton of sense. I'm not gonna lie. Him with Trevor Lawrence would be great. Yeah. It would really be great.
Yeah. Moving on, the Broncos beat the Lions 38-10. They had a very nice ovation for Demaryius Thomas, who passed away last week. They had his number on the sideline, and then they started the game with only 10 players on the field, and then let the play clock run down in order to honor him as if he's still there with them. So very sad, but a lot of positivity coming out of it around the NFL, and a lot of players showing support. So
yeah. The only thing I really don't understand from that game is Javonte Williams, very good rookie running back, had a very good week last week after Melvin Gordon was hurt. For some reason, Melvin Gordon comes back and they give him 24 carries, and Javonte Williams only got 15, where Melvin Gordon was good. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 111 yards, go for 4.6 average. But Javonte Williams had a 4.9 average with a touchdown and 73 yards. I just don't really understand. I would just kind of think that they were going to put the reins on Javonte Williams, let the young guy take over. But hey,
sounds like it's working. So
I guess, I mean, it's the Lions, but yeah, I just don't understand why he got 9 more carries than Javonte Williams. But
Chargers beat the Giants 37-21. Again, I don't know who was watching that. Then when this was our back-to-back overtime games, we had the 49ers beat the Bengals 26-23. I was really because I picked the Bengals, I was really hoping they were going to pull it out because they were down most of the game, and then they came back right at the end. I think they tied it with a minute left, went to OT, and then I guess the Niners were able to finish them off. And then the Buccaneers Bills game, like we mentioned, Buccaneers were up big. It's the same thing. There's a lot of comebacks this weekend. Bucks were up big. Bills started to come back. I mean, Josh Allen had 100 rushing yards, almost 300 passing, 3 touchdowns. He had a great game. But they also lost in overtime, 33-27 to Tom Brady, who's now running the ball more. And man, Florida changed him. He's very likable now.
Yeah, he is. It is a shame, but yeah, he's really grown on everyone, I think now.
I mean, I can't not hate. I mean, we beat him in the Super Bowl, so I don't need to hate him anymore. And I never hated him. I just was never a Tom Brady fan. I always said, yes, he's the best quarterback to ever do it, but that doesn't mean I'm a fan of his. But no, he's fun to watch now.
I was thinking this. Obviously, they made the game close, so it looked a little different. But I was thinking this during that Bills game. It's they keep telling you. I think statistically, the Bills are the best defense or passing defense or scoring defense or whatever. Mm-hmm. But every time I watch their games, I never see this elite defense. I've never seen it in the big games. They don't do anything. And then I look at their stats, and then I look at where they're maybe how could they possibly be the number 1 overall defense. And then look, the Dolphins week 2, when they were a complete disaster, they shut them out. So 0 points. They shut the Texans out. That's another 0. The Dolphins, they gave up 11 points still early in the season when they're still a mess. The Jaguars scored 9 points. The Jets 17.
Yeah.
The Saints who during their losing streak couldn't do anything at 6 points. Like they just pad their stats, I feel like, with these terrible teams. Because then you look a little deeper when they play good teams. The Titans, they gave up 34 points. The Buccaneers this past week, they gave up 33. What was it? The Chiefs put up 20 on them. The Redskins put up 21. The Bills 23. Like, outside of these crappy teams that they play, the defense has been very underwhelming. I have not been impressed with them at all.
Yeah.
Really, in the big spots, they just haven't been able to stop. And then I know they only gave up 14 points to the Patriots, but that defense got completely run over. At no point could they stop the run. You knew exactly what they were going to do every single play, and they couldn't stop it. They just couldn't. They just went mano a mano. Bill Belichick made it clear what he was going to do. There was no flair or no special design. They just ran down your throat the entire game. And this defense, I know they get every week on the broadcast the number one statistic. This defense needs to step it up, or they're not going to do anything. And the problem with the Bills, and I don't know if I can tie my boat to them in the Super Bowl, is they can't run the ball outside of Josh Allen, and they can't play defense. And in the playoffs, running the ball on defense kind of wins you games.
Yeah, their run game is going to be their demise, honestly.
The run game and the defense, man, they can pass. They look great there, but outside of the shitty teams they played this year, their defense has not stepped up. And I saw it again this week. They did not do it against the Buccaneers. The offense got them back in it, but in the first half, they was really slipping away from them.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned for the Bills. But
I mean, you went into halftime at 20 down 24-3.
Yeah.
I guess they they got a little, under control, and they only gave up a field goal in the second half, and it's kind of switched in their favor. But still, man, they just came out and just got whacked in the first half, and then they proved they really, they did go to overtime. They tied them, but still, I need to see more from this defense to really think they're going to be legit.
And then Sunday night game was the Bears and the Packers. Like I said, it was actually pretty close at halftime, but then was it Roquan Smith did the taunting?
Robert Quinn
did the taunting on Rodgers. And story was that after that they won 45-30.
That's brutal.
Classic.
Aaron Rodgers told you he owned you last time. All the Bolton, and then he went and did it again. You didn't stop him.
Yeah. And then the Monday night game was a pretty good one. Cardinals didn't play great towards the end. Rams won 30-23. I can't believe they recovered the onside kick with like 20 seconds left after they got a field goal. And then just like Kyler, I mean, he's year 3 now? He's got to be so much smarter than to do what he was doing with the football. Like, the last play, they had like 9 seconds, and he just kept running in circles. Like, you could have gotten a whole playoff and then ran another play, or you could have spiked it, because they ran it right after the last play. And I was like, this was such a mismanaged final 15 seconds. He was not being smart with the ball. Those
last 2 drives were embarrassment from the Cardinals. I can go back to when they were down by 10 points. And I think it was 4th and 1 on their own 40, or it was on the Rams 40, where it would have been a 50-yard field goal. Like, Cliff, you need the field goal here. Your kicker already drilled 2 53-yard field goals. They go for it, don't get it, and now they're still down by 10. The Rams had the ball. That was idiotic. I don't understand why they didn't do that. And then going back to what you're saying with Kyler, how about the play before the onside kick where he takes the sack there? You can't take a sack there and lose all that time. Had you not taken the sack, you would have had a lot more time when you got the onside kick. That final drive, they had back-to-back penalties. They had the holding penalty. Then they had a false start. And then, Kyler came to the line. The whole team thought they were going to spike the ball except Kyler Murray. And it showed. I think the linemen were still in the stance as he was running around. Just really, really bad on their part.
Yeah, not good.
I'll give credit to the Rams. That Matthew Stafford looked great. I've given a lot of criticism to Odell, but to be fair, he played very well. He's really fitting in well. That passing attack looked great. They had 3 different receivers with a touchdown. I think Stafford missed 6 passes or whatever. Really good performance by them. And Arizona, I mean, I'm not too worried because they haven't been in a lot of these games. So I think this is a game where you learn, you get better in these close moments, but they could have wrapped up the division and they won that one.
Oh, 100%.
So tough one, but hey, it's going to be close.
Yeah. Just looking at some things here. So not much has changed for the Eagles as far as their team stats. They are 30th in the league in passing yards per game, and number 1 in rushing yards per game. So
not bad.
Defense is pretty much in the middle of the pack right now. Total yards per game are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're 10th. So we would be the 10th ranked defense. Points per game is in the middle. Passing yards, I mean, our passing yardage allowed has come down a lot, as has our rush. Like the defense has gotten better, which is obvious. You don't really need to see the stats for that.
Oh, yeah. The secondary itself has improved immensely.
I mean, Darius Slay's, he probably should be all pro, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think the 2 all-pro corners are going to be Diggs and him.
I was going to say Diggs and JC Jackson are really the only, as far as like interceptions. But like Diggs still gets burned. Like the interceptions just kind of makes him look a lot better. I mean, granted, I do think he's a good corner, but I think his interceptions are hiding a lot of weaknesses. But not a lot of weaknesses. But you get to
you get to a certain point though, and just seeing that's such an impressive stat. Like he's got 9 of them. JC Jackson could catch him.
Got 7.
Got 7. Yeah. So
my boy Kevin Byard's got 5.
It's tied 3-way, Poyer, Byard. Look at that. 3 safeties and it's all tied with 5.
It was Simmons, Poyer, and Byard, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, we didn't have the Eagles game to dictate our mood. So how are you feeling? You feeling good? You feeling bad? Where are we starting today?
Let's start with the bad so we can end on a good note.
All right. I like the way you look. I like that. Forward thinking. All right. So we've had a couple rough dud appearances from this week. Actually, one we were just talking about, so I'll get right into this one.
Oh boy.
A guy that's actually been on the stud list a couple times this year, I believe, and has been honestly almost an MVP season. But we kind of already preluded to it, so I'll get right into it. We got our third stud is Kyler Murray. Not really a great game for him. He threw 2 interceptions. The one was a tip ball. The other one was a brutal decision on his part that was unexcusable. Man, he was inaccurate all game, though. The first drive of the game, he had AJ Green wide open. I mean, like wide open on a deep ball touchdown opening drive, and he completely missed it. He throwed it nowhere near where he was, and pretty hard because the guy was wide open. But you mentioned already the sack that he took right before the onside kick pretty much killed the drive even before they got the onside kick. The miscue on the spike, just really that whole inefficiency on the last couple drives really, really exposed them. The Rams had a good game plan. They kept him in the pocket and they got their hands up because he is a smaller quarterback. They batted some balls and he was really inaccurate. Really didn't do much for them. He didn't have any touchdowns. So really not a good game for Kyler. One I think they'll learn from, but one that definitely gets him on the dud list. Like I said, he was 32 of 49. He had 383 yards, but no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So hardly an impressive performance. Had 61 yards on the ground too. So he ended up with almost 450 total yards, but nothing to really show for that when it comes to the points.
Yeah.
Moving on. We got a guy, I think you'll appreciate this because I guarantee you don't even know who this guy was.
Okay.
Or who he is. And this is just proof that we are always watching every minute of football, doing our research all the time. This is where I need to get my master's degree, at least working on my PhD and NFL education, because I put all the time and the effort into studying. So this is the first time this position group has been represented on the studs or duds, at least to my knowledge.
Okay.
Maybe not actually,
all right,
but
just lied to me.
It could be. There's a lot of weeks we do this. It's a lot of things to remember.
Okay.
So we got a guy who single-handedly cost his team 10 points, which is just extremely brutal, especially in a game where his team ended up losing by 3 in overtime, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
And insult to injury, literally, he ended up getting, injuring his shoulder and now is on the injured list for this upcoming week. But 2 brutal muff punts in that Bengals and 49ers game. Both were recovered by the 49ers, both resulting in points. 10 points in total. So Darius Phillips, the punt returner for the Cincinnati Bengals, makes our second dud list.
I mean, I only knew of his name because I saw that he muffed the punt.
Yeah, one muff punt, I'll give you a pass. Two, oof. And especially in a close game like that, the Bengals played really poorly, but you can't have two muff punts. That just can't happen. Moving on, we got another tough performance by quarterback, another young quarterback on our list this week. It did not do much. Honestly, this team did nothing on offense. They were shut out, and you got to look at his performance to begin that. There's a circus going on in that locker room and facility, and I think it's hurting his overall development. And this game definitely didn't look like he was improving at all. The big number, 4 interceptions, is a number I see. I put you automatically on the duds list. Going 24 of 40, 221 yards and 4 interceptions in a division game, a game where they really couldn't do anything offensively. We got Trevor Lawrence making his appearance on the dud list this week.
Yeah, he's having a rough season.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people are mentioning, oh, he's not worth the hype, the buzz, anything. You watch him, he's still got it. I see him make.
It's the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's this is
where
where
is doing nobody any favors down there. So it's the same thing with Tua. Like I thought Tua just needed some time to get acclimated to the NFL, and looked at like the Dolphins have won how many straight now? Like 6 straight.
Tua was complete mismanagement because they had a quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick who was capable of getting in the playoffs, and the Dolphins didn't know whether they wanted to build around the young guy or be in the playoffs right away. Yeah. So they just the starting and stopping with him, the injury, Tua was just behind the 8 ball in a lot of things. Trevor Lawrence has got it, man. I see him make these throws that made him this generational prospect when I watched him play. It's just the team is just such a disaster. Like Urban is a clown. If I'm the Jaguars, get Urban out of there. Get someone that's actually going to develop Trevor Lawrence because the guy could be very good. Yep. It's just it's a mess. But yeah, I mean the 4 interceptions, the shutout, he makes the dud list easy this week.
Well,
so moving on, we got a guy who I got to say, this was partially I put him on the stud list because last week he had an incredible performance. But due to the rules, the studs and duds, he was in a losing effort, so I couldn't put him on. So this week he ended up pulling out a victory, and he was completely dominant again this week. He went for 13 receptions for 151 yards and a touchdown. And my geez, like the last play in overtime, that final drive, he had 3 receptions and he had 38 of the total 65 yards they had on the winning drive. The guy is just an absolute beast. Again, what makes him so special, though, is he's just a force in the blocking game, which he shows every single week for a very run-heavy team. And a team that's getting it together, and they're running that offense through him. So Mr. George Kittle makes our first appearance on the stud list.
Yeah, the Niners as a whole are really turning around. I mean, Kittle went from first half of the season, he wasn't getting any targets really. They just used him solely for blocking, and now he's had back-to-back weeks where he's just gone off.
Yeah.
They're running it well. I mean, Joey Bosa's in the top 5 in sacks right now. They're Nick playing Bosa. Good. They got hot at the right time, unfortunately for the Eagles, because they're going to be fighting for that wild card spot with them. I mean, it's basically between Philly, Washington, the Vikings, and 49ers. I don't really think any other teams are going to make a push. So maybe the Saints, but they're not really going to. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
he really, I mean, the true honesty of his greatness is the fact that some games he can just line up and block. And then other games, he can be your number 1 pass catcher. It's incredible. Yeah. So moving on. So this one we got, I ripped the Raiders, and I will continue to rip the Raiders because you can't go and do theatrics or give them locker room material or motivate the team you're playing and then just completely fall on your face, because then the embarrassment is even worse. All credit to my second stud, though. When you give them locker room material, when you go out there and you run your mouth and you say the things that he said to this team, and that they remember it, and they know that they're going to come out and try extra hard to win, especially a division rival. And then when you come out and back up every single word you said in a complete dominant performance, where you go 29 to 37 for 341 yards and 4 touchdowns, and you just remind everyone that you still own the Chicago Bears. I could have given this to Devontae Adams, who had an incredible game, 10 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns as a little honorary notion. But let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers, after you go and tell them you own them and you do it again, you got to give him the stud. It was completely impressive. They had the locker room material. They had all the motivation in the world, and he came in and just whipped them. Like they they were, lying to their teacher or something and got the belt after school. Just the dominant performance.
We went to the same school, didn't we?
Yeah. It's different things.
I don't remember that part of council.
It's just beautiful, brutal performance. So Aaron Rodgers, you get on the stud list this week. Moving on to our first stud. And this one was a little bit ago. So, I might have to bring you back and, remind you of how dominant this performance was. But a gut performance too, gutsy to say the least. After dislocating his shoulder, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he missed 1 week. An injury that we thought he would at least miss like 3 to 4 weeks, came out in a physical position and just dominated like he'd never missed a beat. Going for 205 rushing yards. I think he had like 150 in the first half or whatever.
Yeah,
he added on
insane.
Yeah, he added on 17 through the air. So you're looking at 220 scrimmage yards. His run per carry average was 7.6, which is just disgusting. Throw on 2 touchdowns to go along with it. And he was pretty much this entire offense. In a very impressive win that they needed on national TV, Mr. Dalvin Cook. It was all the way in Thursday, but trust me, that performance is one you do not forget. So he was my number 1 stud this week.
Yeah, he gave me a nice fantasy football scare because I was playing against him. Put up 36, 35 points, but ended up winning. So no sweat off my bones. But yeah, he's so like, he's such a crazy player because he I actually am looking at he's played 10 games. He's averaging 4.9 yards per carry, 978 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like, if only he could just stay healthy, he would be that Derrick Henry level. Like, just do not want to play this team.
Listen, I mean, this performance, like statistically, was incredible. Yeah. But you also factor in he dislocated his shoulder and he came back. You could tell he was in pain. He had that. Look at Christian McCaffrey. He's a great talent, but he just doesn't look like he's gonna be able to stay healthy. And like, he never, tears his ACL or has Achilles injury. It's not big injuries. They're constant ankle injuries or shoulder injuries.
But those don't go away.
No, but you know what? Give credit to Dalvin Cook because that dislocated shoulder is one of those minor injuries that take you off for a couple weeks. And he went out there, gutsy performance, and dominated. And it's impressive. And he truly reminded everyone why he's one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah. No arguments here. You had Kittle at 3. That's kind of surprising. I figured you kind of like him. Figured you had him higher.
Listen, Cook had a great performance. Rodgers was 4 touchdowns. I mean, listen, there was a tough group. Stafford was on the consideration. Cook was awesome again. Devontae Adams was incredible. It was a tough match. There was even a couple other ones thrown in there. Melvin Gordon obviously had a good game. Rashard Penny. Tough one to pick. Yeah, there's a lot of good games to go around. So I thought it was fair, though.
Fair enough. Alrighty, time for some. I haven't even had dinner yet, so this is very appropriate. Time for some too much whiz on our cheesesteaks or your salad or whatever you like to put whiz on.
You put cheese whiz on a salad?
No, I just thought I'm sure we have some salad eaters listening.
They definitely don't put cheese whiz on. I'm not a salad eater, but I can tell you, there's no way cheese whiz goes on a salad.
Yeah, I don't. I just kind of stir it out there. I mean, cheese like shredded cheese and stuff is good in salad, but
yeah, cheese was a whole new element. I don't think cheese whiz goes on a salad.
Not cheese whiz, no.
That's you're hungry. Cheese whiz salad sounds appetizing.
That sounds like you've run out of everything in your fridge. But anyways, starting it off, and this is something we were practically just talking about. Right now, this player is number 4 in yards for his position. However, he has not played in a while because he is out for the season, and he has only played 8 games. So my question to you, Timothy, too much whiz. Derrick Henry will finish the season with top 10 rushing yards.
Oh, I'd have to look at the whole list to get an actual feel, but I'm going to say too much whiz. Just out of the respect of other running backs in the league, I'm going to say too much whiz, considering this guy only played, 8 games, which is less than half a season. I have to assume. I don't know who the 10 are. I have to assume that 10 running backs can outdo 8 games of Derrick Henry.
Well, 10 and 9 are Lamar Jackson and Leonard Fournette, and they are both at around 770. And Derrick Henry has 940.
I mean, I don't know if Lamar's going to get there with the injury, but I definitely could see Fournette doing. I still say too much whiz. That would be something else.
Okay.
Derrick Henry's incredible. He does things other players can't. If he managed to get in top 10 rushing off 8 games, that's something else. Even incredible for Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I'm going to say not too much whiz, I don't get to answer these, but
I appreciate your input.
I think it's because, even James Robinson, who we mentioned barely gets used, he's got 682 yards. Hurts is in 16th with 695. So you never know, but
listen, it would be respectable. 920 or 37 yards, very respectable, but I can't possibly see that.
We'll see. Moving on, number 2. Too much whiz.
Okay.
There will be no in-season firings of head coaches this season. Anyone who gets fired, it will be after the season concludes.
I would say not too much whiz. I don't think it's going to happen. Shad Khan has already come out and said that Urban Meyer he'll wait till the end of the season. And let's be honest. I don't know who else is at risk. Dan Campbell and Coley for Texans, and the Lions are both first year coaches. Yeah. They're not going to get fired. I doubt Nagy gets fired in the middle of the season. I can't. I guess Salah's still in his second year. Maybe Joe Judge, but
he's a rookie coach too. Salah.
Oh, is it? Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I guess if it's not Urban, and I doubt that the Vikings are in contention. There's no way. They're coming off a win. It comes down to Urban Meyer. If Urban Meyer doesn't get fired, no one will get fired in the season.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of turnover last year. And Urban Meyer just. Nobody's even gossiping about it. It's just facts that he's not going to work out. The only gossips that I've heard is really Nagy, but that was, he might be fired, he might not. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I don't know if we've had a season lately where someone hasn't been fired before, like the last few weeks. But
Gruden technically has already been fired. So
oh shit. Well, this is in addition to Gruden. That was special circumstances, but
yeah,
I forgot all about that.
The thing that
that's so long ago now.
That I know it's crazy how things change just week to week in the NFL.
Christmas is in fucking 10 days. Like, what the hell? It's crazy.
It's crazy indeed.
But all right, and my last too much whiz. Another thing we briefly started talking about. So Timothy. Question of the day. Too much whiz. The Buffalo Bills will miss the playoffs.
Oh, too much whiz.
Nah, really? You think so?
Yeah, no, they're not.
They're not winning the East right now, and they're tied in wild card right now.
I don't. There's no way. There's 8-5 or
7-6.
7-6.
Dolphins are a game behind. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Indianapolis are all 7-6. Broncos are 7-6. Chargers are 8-5.
Yeah, but
it's going to be tough.
I'm looking at their schedule they have remaining. They have the Panthers this week, the Patriots again in New England, which will be tough, but then they get the Falcons at home and they get the Jets at home. I think at worst they're 3-1 on these last 4 games. Which puts them at 10-7. I think the Ravens are falling apart. Cleveland, I have more doubts in Cleveland and Cincinnati, who are tied with Buffalo, than I do in Buffalo. The Colts, I think, are legit. The Chargers 8-5 could make a run. The Broncos at 7-6, I don't think are legit. All the teams that are 7-6, I just don't have any faith in them like I do with Bills. I think the Bills have a good, favorable schedule, and they managed to get in. Plus, there's 7 teams. There's no way the Buffalo Bills can miss the playoffs.
All right, if you say so.
I
don't want them to miss the playoffs, but realistically, the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Steelers are all 1 game behind the last wild card spot.
Listen, they're currently in the playoff right now. They have that last wild card spot, and then they're obviously. Yeah, the Browns, Bengals, and Denver are tied with them. Looking at those 4, 7, and 6 teams, I'm supremely confident about the Bills. The Browns, I've already said, are a mess offensively. Denver, I just don't think Denver has enough to make a run. And then Cincinnati just is so inconsistent. Yeah. They make horrific mistakes. Like Joe Mixon again had a dud game. The Chase had a couple drops. I already mentioned Darius Phillips dropping 2 muff punts. Like I feel like they do that almost every other week. They have just a game where they all collapse in unity. With the schedule the Bills have going forward, I think they still make it in.
All right. Moving on. That is our too much whiz. So power rankings. So last week we had our preliminaries because we were waiting on the Patriots and the Bills game, and that game ended pretty interestingly. But going into week 15, holy shit, week 15 already. So we got the Packers at number 1, the Bucks at number 2. So those are our 2 NFC power teams right now. And the New England, who would have thought the Patriots would be leading the AFC East and the AFC in general right now and be our number 3 power rank team?
I'm telling you, they're probably my favorite coming out of the AFC. The defense looks great. Mac's doing enough. It's really impressive.
We'll see.
What Bill Belichick did, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Cardinals at 4 after a rough loss. They're still a good team. Chiefs at 5, and they are getting very hot. Rams at 6 had a nice win, much needed. Cowboys at 7 almost lost it, but ended up taking care of business. And if not for Micah Parsons and Diggs, like that defense would be terrible. So, Randy Gregory's come on late too, so he's had a nice couple of games. Colts at 8. They were on a bye, but they are currently in the 6 wild card spot. Jonathan Taylor's a monster. Carson's doing just enough. So Bills at number 9. And then we have the Titans, who are very stealthily 9-4, also tied for first in the AFC. So it's they're the number 2 seed right now, which feels weird considering they lost Derrick Henry, but they're still winning games. I mean, they beat the Jaguars, nothing to write home about, but they're in it. So that is our top 10. The Ravens are knocked out because who knows what they've had so many injuries, so many COVID issues. They've gone through about 5,000 running backs at this point. So
yeah, they're missing both their all-pro cornerbacks. Ronnie Stanley's out.
Oh yeah, Marlon Humphrey's out for the year, right?
Yeah, add on Lamar Jackson getting hurt. That's just it's amazing that they're still competing.
Yeah. So much like the Ravens, I too am going downhill in my picks.
Love it. I
had a brutal week. I got a little spicy and tried to pick some upsets, and none of them worked. Tim, I'll give you a round of applause. You only had 1 loss. You went 13-1 this week.
Who did I get wrong?
The Cardinals.
Oh, son of a bitch, you're right. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn you, Kyler and Cliff, and not knowing how to run a 2-minute offense.
Yeah, I went
13-1. Look at that. I'm impressed myself.
Yeah, I went 11 on what was it? I had 5 losses, so not very good in the pick column. And then our guest picked my college roommate Tyrell. So I was surprised. I figured he was going to have some shitty picks because he's more of a basketball guy, but he only had 4 losses, so beat me. So
yeah, fair enough.
But moving on, I think you'd have to make some pretty bad decisions coming up here because you have an 8-game lead on me.
Ooh, love to hear it.
You are 134-73. I am 126-81. Do not like that, not one bit. But
it's tough.
That's my Christmas gift to you. I'll let you have that for a couple of weeks.
Oh, it's joyous. It's gonna put a smile on my face for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, pretty fun game for this Thursday. Chiefs and the Chargers. Who are you liking there?
That is really good. This is gonna be a very good game.
Yeah.
You know what? The Chargers are a good team. They're 8-5. They came off a nice performance, but the Chiefs are red hot right now. And this Chiefs team, when they're cooking like this, I don't think many teams can beat them. So I think the Chiefs keep rolling.
I also am gonna go with the Chiefs. I just don't. Chargers are very up and down, but they're like getting better at the right time. But I think they're gonna run into a way hotter team than the Chiefs. So. Yeah. Next game, we have the Raiders at the Browns. So I guess actually, yeah, the Browns or Ravens played their back-to-backs the previous 2 weeks. I think that's what confused me. But I'm gonna take the Browns here. Raiders are kind of like the Chargers, very hot and cold, but I mean, they just got decimated. The Browns really need this game. So
Yeah, I'm actually thinking the same thing. Like that Raiders loss was so embarrassing. That's almost like let's just call it a season kind of loss. I think the Browns get this. I think their defense is a big game and Baker just does enough. I mean, let's be honest. That defense was so putrid. I think Baker can even score some points.
Yeah. Next game is, well, this is confusing. So the Raiders Browns is a Saturday game. And the Patriots Colts is also a Saturday game.
Yeah, get into that nitty gritty at the end of the year.
All right. Well, who you got for Patriots Colts?
You know what? I think the Patriots keep rolling. I think Bill Belichick is going to have a very smart and stringent game plan for Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
We'll see what Wentz does. I don't really have faith in Wentz, being able to pass very effectively against that Patriots secondary. And Bill Belichick's going to take away Jonathan Taylor. He just does that. He takes away the best player, and that's clearly Taylor.
I just can't see. I agree. They have a really good run game right now. They have really good defense right now, but the Colts are also off a bye, pretty good team. I think they'll find a way to win. I'll take the Colts.
You give Bill Belichick 2 weeks to figure out to stop an offense. I have confidence in him stopping an offense.
Titans and the Steelers is our first Sunday game. I think the Steelers are terrible right now, but somehow they stay in games. But I'm going to take the Titans because they're still in playoff contention. They do enough to win without Derrick Henry. They got other good players around them. So,
yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think this is the toughest game easily. It sounds like TJ Watt's going to play. The injury wasn't a big scare. It's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh desperately needs to win this. They realistically still have a chance of winning the division.
Yeah.
You're the wild card. I think Pittsburgh manages to win this game. They're one of these franchises, Ben's on the last leg. There's only a couple games left. They're one of these franchises that, know how to win in these late months. I think Pittsburgh pulls one out here and gets the upset.
All right. I already picked. Yeah, I'm taking the Titans. Next game is the Panthers at the Bills. Panthers are on the decline. They started 3-0 and they are now they've been 2-8 since then.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Bills in a huge bounce back game.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those games where the Bills defense just dominates, probably shuts them out. And this is where we get to hear, the Bills, the number one scoring defense, blah, 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 even though they stink against good teams. The Bills need this. It's a bounce back game. They need to win pretty much for at least 3 of the next 4 to have a chance. So I'm going Bills.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 45-0 game for the Bills.
Yeah, see, this is the Bills. Like, they really don't do well against the good teams. And then they just smack the bad teams. So it helps their stats. So we think they're amazing. Josh Allen's a little banged up, but it seems like he's going to give it a go.
Yeah.
I think they win.
Game of the week, Washington at the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, we got to be all birds here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on the Birds. We're coming off a bye. We need this. I feel good. The juju's good. Philly's actually a 4.5-point favorite, which surprises me.
Probably because Heineke's limping and half the team's on COVID watch. So
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Birds all the way. Oh, this is a fun game. Make sure you tune in on Sunday. Texans at the Jaguars. Battle for the number 1 pick.
Jeez. Can we say battle of just biggest shit show? Because let's be honest, the Texans were the hands down just biggest shit show in the NFL. But now Urban Meyer and the Jaguars have done a very good job to kind of wrestle that title away from them.
Yeah, this is a hard game to pick. They're both so bad.
And it's not just they're bad. They're just like locker room is a disaster. Like everything is going wrong for them off the field. Like it's just not that they stink on the field. They're a disaster in all aspects.
Yeah.
With that said, I do ultimately think the Jaguars have more talent. So I'm going to go with the talent and say the Jaguars win.
I need to catch up to you, and so I'm gonna take the Texans.
Fair enough.
That's my only reasoning.
If Urban Meyer loses the Texans, I know Shad Khan said he's going to wait till the season. I think the city of Jacksonville might fire Urban Meyer than themselves.
So, Cowboys at the Giants again. I don't think much thoughts needed here. I mean, I'd love for it. I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, I'd just like to see Cowboys lose. So, but I'm gonna pick the Cowboys to win. The Giants upset would be nice.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I actually think this might be a little blowout. I think the Cowboys are going to make sure to stomp on the Giants and not let what happened last week potentially happen again.
Next game, we have Cardinals at the Lions. Do we see a little Lions upset brewing here?
No, we see a get-right game for the Cardinals.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Excuse me. I'll take the Cardinals. Next game, we have a lot of lopsided games. Jets at the Dolphins. Sadly, I'm going to have to take the Dolphins, keep rolling.
I mean, the Dolphins are like arguably the hottest team in football. So yeah. I don't see them coming to a halt from the Jets. So I'm going Dolphins as well.
Okay. 2 7-6 teams going at it, the Bengals and the Broncos. I think the Bengals they've shown a lot of improvement this year over the past seasons. Joe Burrow has been a little inconsistent here and there, but they have a phenomenal, I'd argue, top 5 wide receiver group. Defense is getting better. It's about middle of the pack. And Joe Mixon is one of my favorite players in the league right now. So I will take the Bengals, with all that being said.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this earlier. The Bengals are arguably the most inconsistent team.
Yep.
Last week, they had numerous mistakes and disasters. So it'll all be right that they come out and get a huge win here. So I'm going Bengals.
All right. Oh, I wrote down Bengals for me, and then for some reason auto corrected to the Beans for you.
Oh,
so you're picking the Beans.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Next game is the Falcons at the 49ers. I think this is actually harder to pick than I thought it would be.
The Falcons are surprisingly still in it.
They're competitive.
They are. I'll give them that, but the 49ers are kind of rolling right now.
Yeah. That's the trend. That's the trend this week is that whatever team is hot, we're just kind of leaning towards. But
yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the Niners. I'm looking at this. The Niners are 9-point favorites. I don't know about that. I think that's way too ludicrous. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I might take the Falcons to cover. That might be my bet of the week.
Yeah, might do that as well.
A team that's, I mean, not gonna lie, their Falcons are decently hot. They came off a win this week.
They can light it up when they want to.
Yeah, they still got some players.
So, next game. Oh, I'm also taking the 49ers.
Nice.
I have to take a couple games to try and catch up, but I'm not going to be stupid and pick every other. So,
yeah.
Next game, we have the Seahawks at the Rams. Would not be shocked if Russell Wilson made this a game, but I think the Rams know what's at stake and they find a way to win. So I'll take Rams.
Yeah, the Rams seem to be hitting their groove. They had that 3-game losing streak, but they seem to figure it out. The offense looks really good. I'm going Rams.
Next game, we have Packers at the Ravens. That's an interesting matchup. No status of Lamar, to my knowledge, as of today. And like we said, the Ravens are kind of banged up everywhere. So I will take I think there's a good chance the Ravens could come out with the upset, but I think Packers will take care of business.
Fair enough. I mean, I mentioned this earlier. We have 3 teams tied for the first overall seed in the NFC. Packers are one of them. I see the Packers, the Buccaneers, and I think the Cardinals actually get it together, having this race all the way to the season. So I think they're neither of them are going to drop any easy games. The Ravens are too beat up. I think the Packers win this one.
All right. And then we got Sunday Night Football, the Saints at the Buccaneers. I believe the Saints beat the Bucs early in the season, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's not going to happen again. I'll take the Bucs.
I was to say the fact that they beat them earlier makes me more confident that the Bucs are going to beat them.
Agreed. And then our Monday night game, Vikings at the Bears, self-proclaimed by Tim himself, greatest entertainment on TV or whatever your phrase is.
Most entertaining team on TV.
Okay.
And listen, the NFL's happy because they've got their number one entertaining team on the national TV game. And you know what? They come through in these games. So I'm going to Vikings.
Well, the Bears got to win a game eventually. So I'll take the Bears at home, Monday night, Soldier Field, cold outside. You know, maybe Justin Fields has a nice game for once and their defense shows up. I mean, they found a way to score 30 points. I mean, some of it was from special teams and this and that. So you never know. But those are our picks for week 15. And that about wraps up this episode. Looking forward to Eagles and Washington. I'm going to say, honestly, that is probably the most important game as far as playoff. I mean, Patriots, Colts, Chiefs and Chargers is important too. I would say Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots, Colts, and Washington and Philly, most important games this week. So see what happens. Any final lingering thoughts?
No, just listen. It's getting to that playoff football time of year.
Yeah.
So let's see this. This is a huge game. I really want to see the Eagles come out. That's all I need. That's all I'm asking for Christmas.
A nice Eagles win under the Christmas tree.
It'd be beautiful.
It would. All right. Well, on that note, Tim, have a nice London week, and I will catch you later.
Sounds good. I'll see you. Peace.
All right. Peace.